Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Unquestioned Podcast with Debaere and Willem Himpe. Yes, baby. Luigi, how are you doing, my man?
Present and accounted for.
Present account. Man,
I'm getting ready for my trip to Thailand. Longest vacation
Thailand, how long are you going?
for almost 3 weeks. Yeah, longest stretch of time I've been away since I don't know, forever. So excited.
Okay. Yeah, well, hopefully you come back as well with a little Muay Thai short and you become like a real kickboxer. I don't know if you're gonna, I would suggest, I've never been to Thailand, but I know everyone that goes there suddenly becomes really kind of obsessed with kickboxing and
Really,
kind
you're
of,
the first one to say that.
well, it's
It's
really,
not
it's like a
Brazil.
national, no, it's really in Thailand. It's like a real, the sport is, let's say, very well represented over there.
Amazing. Well, I've heard different things about Thailand, the sports. That's cool.
Okay, well, and one more thing, we still need to go to the USA. We always speak about USA
Yep.
politics, about tech and so on. When are we going, my man?
March of 2026.
It's already set? No, we're speaking about it, but we need to
We need
get
to
it.
lock it. And our friend Sim is listening.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk more about him in a moment. He's joining us as well. So we need to lock those flights down.
The one thing maybe for the listeners, what I always do if I really want to do something, if it's now a trip or a challenge or something, I just buy, for example, a ticket. And this would be a flight ticket. But if I want to do a triathlon, I did my first Ironman. I was 18 and I said, I want to do this. Everyone said like, Willem, you're stupid. You're not prepared. I just bought a ticket. Okay, I bought it now, so
No
I
way
have
back.
I have to do it.
No
Yes.
way back.
So today's episode is about a specific topic that I think is very unique and or it's very common at the same time. It's 9 to 5. And we were actually discussing a little bit about our lifestyle, that we both live a no 9 to 5 lifestyle, although we do have corporate jobs, but we don't, let's say, have the traditional lifestyle of a 9 to 5. And maybe Louis, you can kick us off by stating what you see as a 9 to 5 or what you feel like 9 to 5 is not, let's say, matching with your identity.
Yeah. Let's level set. So traditional 9 to 5 and the way work has been for a lot of people, not everyone. There's like, if you work at a restaurant, you might not have flexible hours, or in a hospital, work in shifts. But for most of the white collar population, you start work early in the morning at a set time every weekday. That's why there's traffic jams. And then you have lunch with your colleagues around 12. And you head back home between 5 and 6 p.m. in the afternoon, or maybe you work a little bit late. But the trend we're seeing is that people don't want to be tied down to those rigid rules. And the way I look at it is they basically want the freedom of being an entrepreneur, having your own company where you're able to set your own hours. You can escape whenever you want. Now, you obviously also work during the weekends, maybe. That's what they want. And myself, I work remotely. And that means two things. So I don't have to commute.
Mm-hmm.
And additionally, we have a lot of flexibility to work when we feel like we're most productive. Meaning, if we happen to want to start our day later than usual, we can do that as long as we don't have meetings. And then if we, for some reason, find that we are productive late until the night, then that's okay. Now, that's also because of the nature of my job.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to operate on patients or make appointments, that's a different story, of course.
Correct. It's
How
kind
about
of,
you?
yeah. So I actually, my philosophy of being against the 9 to 5 is twofold. So one way is a bit similar like you. Everyone has an individual biological clock. So when they're most productive and when they feel like for their job, this is the best moments to be active. And I do a tech sales job or SaaS sales, and where actually the most, let's say, you have to work within the business hours between 9 and 5, but I see the most with cold calling and other stuff. It's very relevant to be in the morning when people also don't have meetings between, let's say, 8:30 a.m. until 11 and 12, where you have very good access to people, and then have meetings between, let's say, 1 to 3. But after that, yeah, a lot of people already commuting or doing all this stuff. So it's less, let's say, let's perfect, or let's not a good match to do your sales job, and you have to do other work instead of the mundane thing. But the other second thing is why I'm against a 9 to 5, because I have my own startup. So I'm actually doing two things, and I cannot do my startup during my corporate hours. So I have to do it after that. And when I was working fully on my startup, everyone that I know that is successful in a startup doesn't work from 9 to 5. And you can see or people say, oh, you need to have work-life balance. Well, if you want to have a company that's working, and if you want to, let's say, fight against the world, because the world doesn't want your startup to exist, because it's
Well
running and
put.
it's work. The world is kind of working the way it is. So why does it need another, let's say, company? And you have to like work harder than your competitors, work more hours in the sales, in product development, and all of these things, because the world doesn't want you to exist. So you have to kind of beat that entropy, if I can say so. And that's as well the reason why I'm not going to say I'm successful, but I have been able to, by pivoting and by working really endlessly and changing our solution into something that generates a revenue and that's making an impact in the event worlds in this case. So, and that wouldn't have worked if I just stopped working at 4:59 each evening and took all my weekends and my holidays like a normal corporate hustle.
Totally. Yeah. And a different trend that we're seeing is that people are no longer as loyal as they used to be to their employer.
Correct.
If you look at any historical data, it wasn't uncommon for someone to be a lifer, to be working for 20, 25 years or their whole career at the same company. And maybe the company would reward that more. Maybe it still happens at like small family owned practices, but no way that doesn't go on in the head of a starter anymore, especially for a large org. They don't have the illusion that it's gonna pay off. I think it does pay off to spend some years, not being valued at your full potential, maybe just to show. But it's harder and harder because it's easier than ever to show your worth more quickly. And that's why people like to job hop companies and to climb not only not only the ladder inside of the company, but just switch companies and jump the ladder that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then an even more powerful trend, to give some shout out to some friends, that some people literally have two different things that they work on.
Well, I think we can shout them out, but start with ourselves. You, for example, you work for Spotify, but as well, you're really kind of invested into the crypto world, learning a lot about that and doing kind of research and actions in that world. And with me, I have built my own startup, and besides, I do, let's say, 9 to 5, or that's how I get paid, a corporate role within a big German multinational.
And then we have this podcast as well.
And you have this podcast as well. But what is the reason? Or maybe let's first give a fun example to one of our friends who does the same.
Yeah, we what I find to be the most the crazy remix is our friend that has a startup business building pools for people in their
Mm-hmm.
backyard. Nice wooden pools, and he decided to still finish his um, studies as a doctor, and now he does both. So literally half the time, he's a general practitioner at his practice, having patients over all the time, which is something that's hard enough. Like I remember he was studying, doing both, and still found time to go to the gym multiple times a week. So this is something that's hard enough on its own. And next to that, he's still in charge of Simpools. That to me is the wildest example, because you're literally in the field one day and then in your practice the other.
Yeah, I think the reason, because we see it more and more, and we see it on our social media feed, is people are not happy. Are they not happy enough with, let's say, one job. They have multiple interests, they have multiple things, they want to have multiple incomes, because maybe it is by just having a 9 to 5 job, people feel like they don't make enough, or they cannot break out of the traditional real freedom. And they're trying to do probably these side things because one day, hopefully, they hope to switch fully to their real passion project or their passion job. And the other thing as well, what I think is why people do that is because it's today with social media, they very quickly see new things that they might be interested at. And in the past, the people were not as much triggered to try new things and get new exposure. They just sit their 9 to 5 job. They maybe read the root newspaper, they check the television, but very often they keep to the same path. But now, because of the internet and the world is like your oyster, you can do anything you want in a way. People are as well much more, let's say, triggered to do more things with the 24 hours they
Yeah.
have in each day.
Yeah, and they have the tools to do so. The app is not available here, Robinhood, but we have similar examples. People are just eager to invest because they see, oh, I would like to own a piece of Tesla. I really believe in it, or I want to gamble. And it's also because, sadly enough, they might be cynical, actually, looking at the world very pessimistically, and maybe they've given up on the idea they've already given up on the idea that their boss is gonna appreciate the fact that they stay at the company or that they work extra hours. So they have no illusion about rewarding whatever loyalty. And then they also may not believe anymore that their job is gonna make them rich. Maybe they just do their job because they have to do something to pass the time. It's like adult daycare, do something socially, and maybe it triggers you. It's nice to be. It's a nice technical thing, but then they're like, no, what's going to truly make me rich is this scheme that I've seen, or this course that I'm going to sell, or this media product, like a podcast or whatever.
Yes, I think it's, let's say, the only way, if you want to work for a company and have the security of a wage, the only way to become rich, because people want to become rich because then they're financially independent and they don't have a boss. A lot of people say like, I don't want that, but I think a lot of people actually do want that. Is the only way is to be very early within a company and own equity. It's like my whole life I've heard it every day, is if you want to become financially independent, you have to be able to make money when you sleep. And the only way is to own, in easy terms, a piece of a business, or a piece of
You need
something that.
equity, yes. You need a piece of the pie because your wage, even the best paid people like lawyers that are paid thousands of dollars or euros by the hour, even there's a ceiling. Even for medicine, sorry, Sim, you need equity. I think he knows that. Some other rapid fire examples of people that do multiple things. I have another friend who has a degree in economics,
Mhm.
and yeah, he was like super valuable to the company, but and was starting to be a little bit technical, writing scripts and everything, because I mean, you know that as well as I do. Like, there's a lot of semi programming involved, but he actually found a part time job teaching himself also through the new tools to be a full stack software engineer. So an actual developer, the same job that I do, which is quite different. It's quite different to be doing data analysis and stuff than to be truly in charge of the implementation of a website, a product, backend software, all that jazz. Yeah, he's getting paid a little bit less maybe at the start, or he's like getting paid as a junior while was paid as a senior, let's say, for his data job. But he's learning, he basically has a second career on
Mhm.
the side. And it's amazing that to be getting paid and learn at the same time. So I think it only enhances his career and anything he would want to do in the future. And then another one that we shouldn't skip on is another friend that recently asked for less hours and who's flipping a house. He's literally was there in the middle of a house that doesn't look like a house anymore because he's completely stripped it. He's remodeling this house and they're gonna put renters in there. Again, two things. That's the way he's gonna save up money. It's not related tied to his job anymore.
And to add on that is, you see that these people, they're all trying to find new things to let's say, make more money, because it's inherently of a business to be profitable or make money. It's not inherent for a business to make all their employees rich in a way. The goal is to make the company, the shareholders, in a way. Okay, you have different structures, but in their shareholders, the money and the shareholders are the people in it that own the equity. So in a way, my best advice would be, don't wait too long with owning a piece of the pie, a piece of a company, and try actually, if you really want to be rich, like I'm not rich, so maybe don't take my advice, but I've read a lot and I learned a lot, and I think I know the pod, because it's constantly the same. What they're saying is, be part of an early stage company when there's still very big growth potential, because you, of course, you can always put your money into, let's say, an index fund, which means a group of companies that is grouped together, which is a very good start, and you own a little piece of the pie. But this is often very diversified, and you'll be a millionaire when you're retired. But it's as well, then as well, you're kind of over 60 and you won't be able to travel and have fun. And if you want really rapid, let's say, wealth growth, then you need to be in a space where the equity you own as well rapidly grows and expands
Yeah, and
in worth.
regardless of what you invested, be it a career, a company, or literally your savings, you said invest early. I agree because of compounding. And
Hmm.
even the best investor alive today, Warren Buffett, made most of his money, like you said, after 60 and 65 years old, which is
Hmm.
retirement age.
Correct.
Because of the way compounding works, um, there's actually this computer science exercise where they give you like a pond, a body of water, and then there's in there there's a wave, a drop that makes a circle wave that
Hmm.
expands and doubles. I think you know where I'm going. It
Yes.
doubles, let's say, every second. And the question is, 1 second before it covers the whole pond, what's the surface area that it takes up? And this is counterintuitive, but 1 second before it takes up only half because we said it keeps doubling.
Hmm.
So it's the same trick where we underestimate the eighth wonder in the world, which is compounding. If you start with 1,000, it's going to take a long time. But when you eventually get again to that million, then the path to 2 million is way closer. So the first million is the hardest, as they say.
And what you just said to translate into investing, it took a weird turn this episode, but it's just constant, because you're putting money in and your interest, or the your money become more valuable, because you get dividends and you get other money. This money gets reinvested and grows with it. So keep reinvesting your money into new assets, which is compounding, and it compounds grows, and the growth is so much more exponentially bigger at the end of the, let's say, finish, near the end of the finish line, than the beginning. And it's sad to say, but then sometimes people that are rich, that have a big amount, they have a big head start, because they can already make big amounts. If you make 10% of 10 million, it's a lot more you can make than 10% with 10,000, for example.
Yeah, it's quite uneven. You need to get that first 100,000, is what Charlie Munger would say.
Hmm.
Any way you can by working, I guess, and then it's a different game.
Okay. But to say to all the listeners, we are not obliged to give you financial advice. This is just our personal point of view, but this is not financial advice that you should act upon. Do your own research. We just want that out there. But to go back to the 9 to 5 podcast, maybe to end this episode, is, I truly believe that people will be way happier if they, of course, follow their passion, but as well either live outside of the 9 to 5, because if you do something you truly love, you can excel in it, and don't get tied on the hours while you're getting paid, or where your employer will pay you. And as well, if you, for example, can do your job in 1 hour, don't just sit there for the remaining 7 hours of the day, like twirling with your fingers or watching stuff. To do something with your life, because it will be a lot more meaningful. I don't know if you would agree, or if you would add something to that, Louis.
I agree. Um, and I would say we took the investor's turn, but compounding can also be your career. your network. The earlier, I'm actually the thing that I'm most grateful for. I feel truly blessed to know people like you and the people that I've cited, because they are part of my network now. And I know, even if it's just to have a drink with them and share stories, they're going to be there in 20 years. And I have friends actually all over Europe that I don't see every day, but they feel like an unfair advantage to me. They feel like an unfair advantage that I know them. Also, my friend Michael in Canada, for example, if I read something on the news about Canada, I can call him up and fact check, like, is this actually happening? For
Mm-hmm.
me, that's really nice to already know relatively a bunch of people this early on, and we're already having so much fun, and our
Mm-hmm.
circle only keeps, our pond only keeps growing. So
Yeah.
it applies to more than just money.
Yes. I want, sorry, I want to add one thing as well, like an
Yeah.
example.
You're still one of my better friends.
That's the one thing I needed to know. No, but thank you. I guess the thing I wanted to add is skills is also, because I did a similar, like your friend, a data analyst study where you learn how to analyze data of a company, but you don't really learn how to code and build applications. I learned that by
Yeah, true.
plus as well, when I was growing up from let's say 6 to 18, I was really into tennis, and I like learned a lot in competitive sport. And these skills all together actually make me a very unique individual, and these skills compound on top of each other. Like my hard competitiveness in sport that I created really helped me in my startup, and plus as well some of my skills I learned at university of networking or other stuff that helped me as well in my startup, but also, for example, maybe my corporate job. So it's
Very
really
true.
like skills also compound in unique ways or how you might not expect it. So
Very true. I've told you this, that I admire your range, because I'm more of a specialist, and you had like these three areas. And I think that's also partly the reason why people get a bit disillusioned, also, like people in school with their teachers, because so much info is available. You could literally pick up a podcast and hear the authority in their field, whatever that may be, explain to you the basics. And that's not going to make you an expert right away, but the tools are there. And it's funny, I actually went the opposite about the economic stuff. I started as a software engineer, and now I'm through friends and through experience and also reading stuff, I'm learning things about like risk adjusted rate of return and all these things that very basic, but still things
mhm.
I wouldn't normally have exposure to if I stuck with building apps all day. So yeah, I can go any direction.
Well, perfect. For the audience as well listening, you can go as well any direction. So truly find what you love.
Yep. Share your story with us if you think you have a unique path. Yeah,
Voila.
would love to hear what you're up to.
Share it in the comments. And that was again an amazing episode of the Unquestioned podcast. And as well, share with us if you believe as well, like you're not living the 9 to 5 life, or you want to.
We're assembling a community of no 9 to 5ers.
Correct. Okay. People, thank you so much for listening, and hopefully you enjoyed it, and see you back on another episode of the Unquestioned podcast. See you. Bye-bye.
Ciao.